defense. That was the change. That's what made the difference. And I really liked what they did with Aaron Donald because during the first half they were really tampering down on them and keeping them from. They were running the ball effectively on them with Joe Mixon at the Bengals, and Aaron Donald was disrupting plays a little bit, but when you start running the ball, it's not as effective. He's not as effective, but then when they started putting in Robinson from Alabama, that other D tackle, to really stuff the run, that kind of forced them to have to throw. When Joe Burrow, when he messed up his knee, I knew from there on out he's not going to be able to run effectively and get out the pocket. So that pass rush started really, really getting to him, especially the second half. And Joe Burrow's offensive line really held up that first half. And I was like, okay, game's close. They can really pull off the victory.
Wasn't their O-line really good in the first half of the game of the Super Bowl? I mean, I'm talking about the Bengals. Because we know their O-line is really not the best.
Yeah, they gave up 7 sacks, I believe, altogether. But they were holding up during the first half. But then they started sending a bunch of twists against them, which because what they were doing was having the center double team Aaron Donald, so he kind of would turn and kind of wall him off. But then when you send a twist, if that center doesn't turn fast enough, you send the free runner to hit Joe Burrow. So that really started disrupting Joe Burrow, and he just couldn't get the ball out in time, and it just really affected him down the line. But it was a good game. But I just hope people really understand that it's not all about I gotta have the best wide receiver, best running game, best offensive minded. No, it was the defensive changes, those little changes that made the difference. And I don't know if you saw that that last 4th and 1 that Joe Burrow got sacked. Jamar Chase was wide open.
Yeah.
He cooked Ramsey. He was wide open.
Do you think Ramsey had a good game? Because it felt like it was more of the D-line. That was the big difference, not really the corners. I could be.
And that's why I tell people, because when you looked at, what's the name? Cincinnati's corners, they're terrible. Uzier and Eli Apple, terrible.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know why Eli Apple was talking, or because he set himself up to be a meme. It's not like he hasn't been a meme before, but he set himself up for failure.
Yeah, because as you can see, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I saw plenty of Eli Apple in Dallas. So it's because he was drafted to the New York Giants from Ohio State, but he just got cooked. They couldn't stop. He couldn't stop us. Anytime we play the Giants, Eli Apple was ineffective. So if he can't stop Dallas wide receiver, you're not stopping Cooper Kupp or Odell Beckham. And that's what really came back to bite them in the end. We had a Woozy on our team too. We let him go for a reason. People don't understand the corner is only as good as your D line, and that was the difference. The second half is Rams D line got to Joe Burrow, Cincinnati's D line didn't. So you have Eli Apple and Woozy, guys that are not that good, having to stick to Kupp. It's not going to end well as it did. Like one-on-one, he just was in the end zone. They gave it to Kupp, and that was game.
I see, because I'm looking at the stats right now. Because obviously Joe Burrow didn't really have a really good game. I mean,
but it was still close. That's what's crazy. Like both quarterbacks, in my opinion, did not have good games. I don't care about Matthew Stafford's stat line. The quarterbacks did not have good games.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it right now. Like they have similar passing yardage. Matthew Stafford passed for 283. Joe Burrow passed for 263. Matthew Stafford did have 3 touchdowns, but he did have 2 interceptions as well. Let's not forget that. Joe Burrow only had 1 touchdown. So it was really a a defensive-led game because people really thought most likely the Rams were going to just thrash the Bengals. It was going to be maybe a high-scoring game for the Rams, but obviously that wasn't the case. A lot of people were talking about once Odell Beckham kind of went down with his ACL tear, which was confirmed that he does have ACL tear.
But it would have got spooky if Odell had stayed in that game because they were not covering him. He was eating against them because it's like you on a double cup. That means you got Odell one-on-one. So that kind of saved the game for the Bengals, Odell going down. But then it's just like, man, your DBs can only hold up so much, especially when that pass rush is getting there. And that's why I always say, like, with defense, like, because people look at football and see, like, okay, Matthew Stafford got 3 touchdowns. But I always go back to defense gives you opportunities. And the Bengals are not able to capitalize off those 2 interceptions because of the defense. The defense gave Matthew Stafford more opportunities, which ate into that interception. And for me, controversial play of the night. I know people want to talk about I don't really care about the Ramsey call like that. It's not that big of a deal. I've seen guys do that all the time. With a tug of him, he flopped. Yes, that was a face mask. I'm not denying that. He flopped on that play. No way.
Doesn't Ramsey flop a lot? I feel like
he did against Michael Gallup. He did against Michael Gallup. He got touched a little bit, and he jumped back like someone just like hit him in like the chest.
Side note, I'm an NBA guy, basketball guy. I don't like flopping in the NBA. I don't like it. I don't like that kind of seeping into the NFL where they're flopping for calls or flopping for pass interference or offensive pass interference or however it goes. It takes away from the integrity of the game. It's like you're trying to do the James Harden fans trying to do a James Harden type move, or it just takes away from the game. No one wants to play against someone that's just faking it, or manipulating the rules to their benefit. I think that's annoying.
Yeah, I get that too, but for me, that doesn't absolve the refs of the NFL should have some type of rule where I understand there's this challenge, but you should be able to challenge flags. They should not be able to throw a flag, pick it up, or throw a flag. You obviously see that penalty is not there, and then nothing happens. With the holding call they had on Kupp, that was terrible. That was terrible. It's like the officiating was so good up to that point. Then they just started throwing flags wholesale. Okay, you get a flag, you get a flag, you get a flag. And but I'm just like, especially in the fourth quarter, you didn't throw flags like that the whole game. But then the last few minutes, you go, for me, and for my opinion, ruin the game by throwing flags. And I know people are gonna say, oh well, they didn't call the Ramsey call, so I made up. That's not how football is. Any sport shouldn't be like, oh, we messed up here, so let's throw a flag to nullify something that happened there.
The NBA, once they know, when a ref knows they missed, his foul or travel, they'll make it up by next play, which I'm like, that's dumb. You missed the call, let it go. Don't do a makeup call. I don't think that doesn't absolve you from missing the last call.
And that's why I always go to, people need to understand referees need to be held accountable for making bad decisions. You can't throw that flag in that situation because it was, what was it, 3rd down? That would have been 4th down. The next play would have been 4th down, but then they got first and then based on the 1 yard line. No defense is gonna hold up like that, especially with the DBs they got.
But you know how it is in the NFL or even in pro. I can just use the NBA and NFL as an example. Rules are catered to the offense. The rules that's why it's difficult for defensive players nowadays. That's why I give defensive players a lot more credit, because the rules are not catered to them. For you to dominate a game as a defensive player in this era, I'll give you a lot more credit than a offensive guy, because the rules are catered to offense, especially for the quarterbacks. The rules are catered to the quarterbacks, the receivers, because for a receiver, you could literally flop from the end zone, and it's a spot foul.
Yeah.
Like, you know how the college rule is set up to where it's just it's 15 yards, which I think they should institute that into the NFL, because that's bogus. You can't spot foul pass interference.
Saving these quarterbacks, these wide receivers.
Yeah.
And that was just such a bad call. I'm not saying Cooper Kupp didn't get touched, but it's just like, that is a bang play. I've seen that a million times.
When you play football, you know.
You just don't call holding that situation, because for me, even that linebacker, Logan Wilson, he was playing out of his mind. If Cincinnati had somehow won that game, he would have been my Super Bowl MVP. Because just stuffing the run and just making all these just amazing plays that they probably don't give credit for those guys for making those tackles, but he basically forced Rams to have to throw and made them a one-dimensional team. But at the end of the day, the talent was better offensively than Cincinnati was defensively. But it was, I just don't like those late game penalties. And but for me, I'm a big.
The talent there was such a. I mean, name recognition wise.
No, not matchup wise. Matchup. Because football, I don't care about. You can have big names, but you can scheme around that. But to a point, at the end of the day, if you have a better defensive end against a worse tackle, there's not much you can do. He's gonna beat you most of the time. The most you can do is like chip against him. But you chip against him, that's gonna leave other guys open. So eventually, like, it's just gonna it keeps you from doing as much offensively. So it's like you can't have your running back as a threat, as a wide receiver getting out the backfield, because you gotta stay there and block. So it makes you one-dimensional as well. But I don't know. It was a good game, but I just didn't like how it ended. You can't throw flags like that at the end of the game, and then now Joe Burrow on a bum knee has to come back and try to drive the ball all the way down the field with a couple of seconds left. There's no way you're winning that game. Especially with the way the O-line wasn't holding up, and Aaron Donald he was eating, plain and simple. That boy's eating, but he was eating, like I said, because of the scheme. Now I'm not saying he's not great, but you can scheme out Aaron Donald, and you can scheme out any player. But if you don't have a team around somebody, you can only do so much. I can double team Aaron Donald every day. If all the other D linemen are trash, I'm winning. I'm a runner all over them.
But that's why
you got Von Miller, you got Floyd.
That's why football is a team sport. It's the ultimate team sport, because you need everything to go right. It doesn't matter how great your offense is. If your defense is terrible, you're most likely gonna lose. Like, your offense can't always compensate for the lack of defense on the other end. Like, it's usually gonna come back to haunt you. So we saw with the bad O-line. Yes, I still don't know how the Bengals beat the Titans when you got your quarterback sacked 9 times.
Well, Tannehill
look back. It came back to haunt them.
Tannehill helped a little bit. Yes. That's the only way you
Tannehill,
can get away with it.
Tannehill's a good quarterback. He's not.
Did he throw 3 picks?
I mean, he's an okay quarterback, but like I mean, that's the past. We can go ahead and let's congratulate the Rams on a great win. There was no reason for them not to win with all that talent on that team. For it to be a close game, I don't know if it was kind of disappointing, but
no, it was very disappointing. They should have gotten them out of there. But for me, I give a lot of respect and praise to Aaron Donald, especially. I'm sorry.
Do you think he should have been Super Bowl MVP?
Nah, it should have been Cooper Kupp. If Aaron Donald could have done what he did, but if Cooper Kupp didn't score, that game was out of it.
Yeah, because I don't know why there's like a debate on who was the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, I know they're trying to give Aaron Donald his flowers, but we can't sit here and like just look past how great Cooper Kupp has been all year. Like Cooper Kupp, if we're gonna be honest, has been the most consistent player on that team.
I don't know. Aaron Donald, the first he's been.
No, Aaron Donald. Like, don't get me wrong. Aaron Donald is gonna continue to do his thing, but Cooper Kupp, like, I'm just talking about this year. I'm not talking about overall. I'm talking about just this year. Cooper Kupp, I feel like has been one of the most. He's been the most consistent player because for him to continue to be clutch, to continue to catch the ball on high pressure situations, and yes, Aaron Donald made a key defensive play at the end. I'm not gonna sit here and deny that, but I don't feel like there was a question about. I don't know where all these questions are coming or why this question.
The only way I could have gave it to Aaron Donald is if he got like some type of like strip sack or something that probably would have given it to him. He was disruptive, not to get me wrong, but the defense didn't really give them field position to score. So they still had to really drive down the field. So that's why, just for me personally, I have no problem with Cooper Kupp being the Super Bowl MVP. He deserved it. He had a monster game because especially during the first half, they basically like shut him out a little bit. But then, like when Odell goes down and he is the main guy, even with them doubling him, he still was able to really take over, and that helped. Like I said, the scheme and how they just they ran the offense and the protection that Stafford got is what really allowed the Cooper Kupp to really get out there, get in open space, and just cause damage. And I'm not taking anything from Cooper Kupp, but man, you give me Eli Apple versus Cooper Kupp, I take Cooper Kupp 110% of the time. Ain't no way Eli Apple getting that man. And I'm sorry, like
everybody, you don't even have to know who Cooper Kupp is or Eli Apple. Most people are gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna take that guy because Cooper Kupp, like, all you gotta do is just show the stats. You're like, nah, like, Eli Apple's not gonna check him. There's no way.
I don't care what route it is.
I
don't care what route it is. I'll bet the house on Cooper Kupp over Eli Apple. That's not even. I ain't worried about that.
I don't. Where did this Eli Apple talk come from? I know I mentioned it earlier.
He was talking spicy to Tyreek Hill. I'm just like, stop.
Tyreek
like you cannot Tyreek Hill. I don't know. Like guys, when they win, like I said, they win, they get cocky, not understanding. It's the defensive line. It's not you. It's the defensive line.
Was that person? He'll still be on the Giants.
That's true.
Like, let's be honest. Like, guys,
the Saints let him go too. They ain't want him.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get cocky?
I wish he was back in the Giants. It'd be something like I want them to bring him back. I would love him to be the starting corner against CD or Martin. I'll take that any day.
Exactly. But okay, we want to congrats to the Rams on that great
AD got that championship. I'll definitely root for AD. Even though I thought the Bengals were gonna win, I'm glad AD got his championship. He deserved that.
A lot of people wanted Odell to get that ring because of all that stuff with Cleveland.
You know?
But hey, again, congrats to the Rams.